I do have to say I have a bit of a soft spot for small, compact cars like this one. Because, of course, I like big cars as well, and I like pickup trucks, and I like big engines, lots of power, lots of torque, but driving something small like this is pretty fun because, well, they've got character, they're cute, they're nice, they're easy to park, and of course with this hybrid system, it's also quite pleasant and economical. Even I think when you stop the car, you get a percentage of how much time you've been driving just on electric mode alone, and I believe it's fairly high, despite the fact that I've been on highways a fair bit as well, and it's somewhere around 54% or something like that, so a lot. Inside, I'm actually quite surprised, even though this is the highest trim level, but you've got digital instrument clusters over here, which actually look pretty nice. They didn't skimp out on them like in some Volkswagen models. But the only thing I have a problem with is that it's a little bit intuitive sometimes, at least at the start. When I picked this car up, I kid you not, I took 10 minutes, and I use a lot of technology. I used 10 minutes to try and figure out how to reset the odometer and the economy. But okay, you get used to things. Also, the cruise control and the limiter, sometimes it'll just say it's not available. Why? Why is it not available? I'm driving, I'm pressing the button, and it says, oh, it's not available in B, and then you put it into D, and it's still not available. Why? I have no idea. And you get used to it. Anyway, you've got physical controls on the buttons, physical buttons on the steering wheel. The steering wheel is actually quite nice. You've got a big infotainment screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, whatever, all of those things. It's actually quite usable. You've got physical controls on the climate system, which is very nice, so you don't have to look away from the road. I also completely forgot, you've got a head-up display, which is excellent. It's big, it's colorful, it's nice, it's useful. I love that. That's one of the best parts of tech you can get in a car. And down here you've got heated seats, high and low, and if you've got a big one like my colleague, phone I mean, the S23 Ultra, it's got wireless charging, but it's kind of problematic to get it in because the compartment is a little small for it, so sometimes it'll start charging, stop charging, start charging while you're driving. So yeah, one thing I don't actually like, and I know it's a small car and it's a small thing, but the horn. Come on, just give me a normal horn or a two-tone horn. It's 30,000. So sitting in the back of the car, well, I'm sitting behind my driving position, and I have to say, despite the fact that it's a small car, it's quite comfortable. I've got a little bit of knee room, and I've got quite plenty of foot room, which is very nice. There's a little hole on the bottom where you can put your feet, and it's comfortable. If you were my colleague, though, who's a bit taller, I think you'd have a few problems. You wouldn't be quite as comfortable as I am. I do have to say, for the headroom, I'm already touching the roof a little bit. So yeah, it's all right. You also have this big panoramic roof, and it doesn't open, but you have these little curtains which you press and they automatically open up, and then you have to manually shut them. But yeah, it's a lot of glass up here. With a smaller car like this, you should be expecting it to be, well, very easy to park, but also at the same time, maybe slightly less comfortable than a big car on damaged roads, because it's expected. It's got a shorter wheelbase, which means that if the road is very bumpy and very damaged, you're going to be jumping a little bit more than you would in a longer car or a bigger car. But it really doesn't feel too bad, to be honest. These seats are quite comfortable. So, the big one, the fuel consumption. I was expecting it to be fairly low because it's a smaller car, it's a lighter car. Well, for these days it's a lighter car, and it's got the hybrid system. And right now I've got 4 liters per 100 kilometers, and that's bearing in mind that I was driving a fair bit on the highway as well at 130, 140 kilometers per hour. Normally Also in a big city when traffic, so that a lot of start-stop traffic. But yes, I was driving fairly economically, so this thing is still dropping. It's 4.0 and it's still dropping. So I would definitely be able, with a bit more driving, to get it below 4 to, I don't know, maybe 3.8. So a pretty good result. They're really not lying with the manufacturer specs. I do have to say there's one really weird thing about this car though, and it's the PRNDB shifter over down here. Now usually in electric cars, and a lot of times in hybrid cars as well, you will have this B option. So D stands for drive and B stands for, I don't know, something. But anyway, what happens in B is if you put it in B and you let off the gas pedal, it will use the maximum amount of regenerative braking with the electric motor, which is great because not only are you braking because you need to, you're saving your brakes, your mechanical brakes, and you're making electricity. So 3 really cool positive things. That's fine, right? But in this car, it works a little bit different and it's weird. So when I picked it up, I immediately put it into B, of course, because, you know, why not? I like driving like that, one pedal driving, so to speak. And I was like, well, I like it, but it's weird because it keeps revving the engine up into 4,000. It's a CVT, so it just kept it at 4,000, even if I was pressing the gas pedal or not. And I was confused. Why is it like this? So I put it into D, and suddenly the engine quieted down, went down to 2,000 RPMs. Everything was normal. I didn't have as much braking, of course, but that was it. So it's weird. If you put it in B, it does start braking with the electric motor and with the ICE engine as well, but when you press the gas pedal, it still keeps up the high revs, and I don't know why. And I'm pretty sure if I was to keep driving in B, I would have a higher fuel consumption than in D. I know, RTFM, read the manual. But I don't know, you know, these days, practically no one reads manuals anymore. That's what we did when we were kids. That's when we had big manuals. But now everything is digital, everything has to be intuitive, etc., etc. So why with this big infotainment screen and this digital system over here, you don't just have some messages like, I don't know, put it back into D? You know, why are you doing that? Because B is not for driving, it's only for braking or something. I don't know. Anyway, apart from that, I really like this car. It's very cute, it's nice, I enjoy it. I'm just not sure because it is quite pricey. And if you look, and if you compare it with the Toyota Yaris, which is essentially the same thing, I think you get a little bit more there for the same price. I think you even get 15 horsepower more for the internal combustion engine. So check your prices, compare things a little bit before you decide. But if I just look at the car, I really like it.